Move on to another anime that you were involved in, and it's a spin-off as well. You were involved in Naruto as Aoba.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that I've pronounced that correctly. I'm horrible with the Japanese pronunciations of anime characters, as well as Kinkishi later on in the spin-off, the Boruto series. You've also done a bit of Jiraiya and Mu in some of the video games too of the series.
Mm.
Um, just wondering, Aoba hasn't appeared in the Boruto anime yet. Are you hopeful that he will and you'll be more involved in Boruto?
I'm always hopeful to be involved in anything. I'm just like, I'll show up to the opening of an envelope. It doesn't matter. Um, some of those characters are fairly important for the long run. Some of them are kind of minor, and some of them are fairly important for a small story arc. I'm just happy when they show up and say, "Hey, are you interested in doing something?" And something. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, sure, sure." Um,
I noticed a few weeks ago, um, the first episode of Jiraiya's clone was announced in the Japanese. It hasn't come in the English dub or anything, but the Japanese version decided to cast a different voice actor in comparison to the Jiraiya so the Japanese voice actor and the clone of Jiraiya are voiced by two different people and have two completely different voices. Now, my understanding of an identical clone is that they're identical. Um,
one would
just
think.
one would think, yeah. So obviously the English hasn't been announced yet. You've done a little bit of dry work through the video games, but if Koji, who's the clone of Jiraiya, was to be introduced in the anime eventually, would it make sense to someone like you that it would have a similar voice actor to um, the original? And if so, would you like to do it in a video game potentially, where that character appears in a game? Would you like to be that character?
Oh, absolutely. There was a show I was involved in called Sonic Boom
Mhm.
about Sonic the Hedgehog, and I played Cubot. Cubot, hey, Dr. Eggman, and he got cloned in like an episode where it was me basically talking to myself, but it was Cubot with cowboy hat, Cubot with this, Cubot with that, and it was basically the same voice, just because they were all clones. So one would think that following the clone, you know, thing that they did in Star Wars, they all were voiced by the same guy, right? All the stormtroopers had the same. Tamura Morrison
Hmm.
voiced all of the stormtroopers, I think, because once it was established that these are all clones inside the armor, then it's got to be the voice of the same guy because all the clones would sound alike because they're all based on Jango Fett. But yeah, one would think that if you're a clone and you're an identical copy, you would need to sound exactly like the original. Otherwise, people would go, you know, you look like my friend, but you don't sound like my friend. Something's wrong. So maybe who knows? I have no idea why they might have done that, but there might be some reason for it in the story arc later that we're not sure of. But we'll see.
Okay, okay, that's fair enough. By the way, I used the exact example in a YouTube video earlier about Star Wars, and I thought Star Wars have done it perfectly. Naruto, not so much. But again, I'm hopeful that the English version might rectify that little
Right.
difference.
Well,
Personally,
like I
um,
said, it's a lot about what the fans want. And if the fans make it known that, hey, we don't understand why the clone of this character sounds different, why? And the producers will go, oh, I mean, look how responsive the producers to the Sonic motion picture was when the
yes.
fans came out and said, your character design isn't what we had hoped for. They spent a great deal of money and time to redesign that character because they thought, uh-oh, if we don't have the fans on our side with this movie, we're in trouble.
Mhm.
So what they did was they did a lot of recalibration and redesign, and it made a lot of money. And the fans were completely elated with the design that they ended up presenting. So some producers will listen, some producers may not, and it's up to them what they want to do. So interesting.
Yeah,
It's a weird business. It really is. There's no rhyme or reason or logic to any of this. Every day I get called or any day that I get called to get a gig. I wish it was every day I get called to get a gig, but anytime I get called to get a gig, I'm always like, sure, thankful to have it. Just I'm not having to dig a ditch. I don't have to live in the cold, snowy weather of South Dakota and work, on a snowplow crew. I get to do this, and every day is a blessing. And I'll show up. Just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.